We are chock full of excitement for this episode of Play in the Field. Welcome, everybody. A very special second edition this week of our favorite Bachelor podcast. I'm Ryan Field, the sports anchor here at WABC in New York City, joined now by our usual cast of favorites, Jen Matarese from ABC here in New York, our Bachelor insider and our Bachelor expert out there in Los Angeles, Gina Sirico at KABC, and it is our extreme pleasure to welcome in the Golden Bachelorette happy couple. Joan and Chock are here. Hi, guys. How the heck are you?
Hello.
Hi there. Good to be here. Thank you.
I have to ask, how tough was it to keep all of this a secret? And what was the sense of relief when you guys walked out with Jesse in front of that studio audience for your first live appearance as an official couple?
Well, I'll tell you, walking out was such a relief because we had tons of friends and family there that we finally got to celebrate us. But I'll tell you, like 3 months of keeping a secret. I'm not great at keeping secrets. Like my kids know their Christmas presents before they ever get them. I'm not good at it. So this was the hardest secret I've ever kept. It was, every new person I saw that asked me, I just wanted to blurt it out, but I did a good job because I think that keeping the integrity and making sure that at the end of all of this, everybody gets to watch the show. The last episode, I'm as a Bachelor fan, never like to know, like I don't want to have a spoiler. So I thought it was important that we made sure we didn't spoil it. We weren't the spoilers.
It was very tough once we left Bora Bora because you come back and you're on cloud nine.
Right.
And you just want to tell the world and you just have to keep it very private. And that golden rose, I snuck it into my office and put it in the safe.
Yeah.
And, I just go, there's going to be a time I can bring it out. And now we can do it.
I love it.
And you guys got to have some happy couple visits, right? Where you get to go sneak away and have your own special time together. Was there a special visit in particular where you guys felt you really bonded and shared a special moment that you could share?
I'd like to talk about that too, because the first happy couple, we had 5 of them, and they lasted 4 to 5 days. And the first one that we had, Joan and I, it was just such an emotional not really roller coaster, but rise. And the first one, I pull into the driveway, and she's waiting there with a glass of wine outside waiting for me. And it was just so special. And then we just hugged each other. And it was like we were back together. We had spoken, ever since we left the island, we had spoken at least 3 times a day. And so we really had the relationship, going full steam ahead. But just having her waiting there with a glass of wine just really made me feel so good.
I think probably one of the best happy couple visits was we happened to be there while the show aired. Just one of the episode aired. We weren't normally there on a Wednesday. And it happened to be the date that we had together at Disneyland, and we got to watch that together. So I think that I love that night. I thought that was one of the best nights that we got to see kind of how our beginning. And most people don't get to see their first date on TV and get to relive it. So that was really special.
Well, I feel particularly special because I got to actually be at that date.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jen and Ryan we've been talking about it since it happened. They've been wondering if I've been on every other date with you, Joan, since then. It's obviously not true. But I do feel like I told you guys this. I've told Jen and Ryan this. I felt it when you guys were there that we could see the spark immediately. For you guys, for Chock, for you, is that when you realize ooh, yeah, we could be a great couple. We could be a great match.
And it was so natural. Absolutely. And especially watching it back, together. And we could see it and that day went by so fast. Would we start at 10 in the morning and then finished at 9 or 10 o'clock at night after the fireworks. And it was like we were a couple. It really was.
Yeah, it was easy. I remember stepping off that train, and he was standing on the platform, and I was like, okay, this is it. This is either going to be a great day, or I got to move on. But I had this good feeling about him in the beginning, and I really wanted it to work. And from the second we met, and we started talking, and to the point where as we were walking through Disneyland, and we're supposed to be oohing and ahhing at things, and of course it's very ooh and ahable. There's a lot to see. We were so kind of ingrained with getting to know each other and having great conversations that they kind of had to remind us, say hi to Mickey. He's over there.
Gina has offered to be the minister at your wedding, by the way, so she was there when this all started. So we figured that'd be a good way to bring this full circle.
I can get ordained on the internet. I'll do whatever it takes. I've already been lobbying for an invite to the wedding, so
Yeah. We already promised you one.
Yes, you're in.
There you
Yeah,
go.
you can just come as a
You are
guest.
in.
Have fun.
Chock, I have a two-part question for you, my friend. One, the
Yes, sir.
history of your name. Unless we've missed something, we have been wondering, because it's such a unique name, such a cool name. What is the backstory with your first name, Chock?
Well, my legal name is Charles, and my mother never liked the nickname Chuck. And somebody had said Chalk, and so it just picked that up. So ever since I was 4 years old, it's always been Chalk. And with the show, they go, "What name do you want us to use?" And I go, "I've always been Chalk." And it's comfortable, so there's really no great story behind it other than my mother going, "I just don't like Chuck."
Well, Mom is always right, and she usually gets her wish. And you got
Yes.
your wish when this is all said and done. I have to ask you, you talked about Bora Bora, and frankly, that was one of the greatest settings for a finale we've ever seen in the history of this franchise. What was going through your mind as you're making that long walk along the beach to get to Joan? Because the audience, we already knew that Guy was no longer in the picture, but you didn't know that, right? So you're going in there pouring your heart out and kind of having to play this like you don't really know what's happened.
That is very correct, that I had no idea what was going on. And I'd spent the previous 3 weeks trying to get Joan to tell me she loved me. And I tried every stop, looking in her eyes, being romantic and going, "Do you have anything you want to say? And how do you feel?" And she was just lip-locked. We had at the bungalow on Bora Bora, she came over the day before, and we had a little session on the couch where we talked, continued talking, and then we went outside, and it was probably the most, and I've traveled a lot in my life, been very fortunate to do that. It was, if it wasn't the number one, it's one of the most romantic, picturesque things I've ever seen in my life. And I pulled Joan in, and she kissed me, and, I call it the kiss. No one kisses another person like that doesn't have interest in a serious level. And that kiss just gave me the trust and the great feeling that we were both in this. And so when we were on the little small private island, I had, I knew it was me. I just absolutely, it could have been different, but my confidence just said, I'm the guy. This is who I want to marry.
Wow. And one moment that stood out for me in the episode is when you walked in and you met Joan's children and you planted a big old kiss right on her. And their kids' faces, I was dying. But, I mean, what was the discussion like? I know there's a lot we didn't see. Maybe did they say anything about that later? Did they?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
And I did this too at the hometowns. And I had 30 family and friends, which my understanding, it was the largest group they'd ever had. And that's the reason why we did it at my friend Roger's ranch, so we could just have all that room. But when I walked up to introduce Joan to the group, and they're all standing there kind of in a circle, I kissed Joan because I wanted the symbolism that this is something that's important in my life, someone that is very important in my life, and I really care for her. And to me, it was kind of an icebreaker. I wanted to see the kids, when we were on the cruise ship, know that I really cared about her. We walked in hand, and the kids, I shouldn't say kids, the young adults, the children that Joan has, they all go, we could just see the look on her eyes. And it was kind of saying we're a couple, but I also wanted Joan to know when we get into these situations, I'm there for you and I love you.
And it really is, it really is that when you were talking, Chock and Joan both at during the engagement, during the proposal part, Chock, you mentioned how you would honor, your lost loved ones, John and Kathy. And then also you mentioned that in the, when you were with the family. So what have those kind of discussions been like, I guess, with the family members after, just about the honoring of John and Kathy, because it is something that you bonded over?
Well, it's the reality that we had these previous lives and these previous loves, and it was very unfortunate for Joan and myself and with John and Kathy to pass. And the great thing, what helps this relationship is they're not young kids, so I don't have to step in as a father. They're adults. I'm just simply, the way I look at it is, I'm going to be the person that loves your mother, and we're going to be a family. And I think that's important to them because they should honor their father. Absolutely. Kathy's 2 kids, I'm still very close with them. Their father is very much in the picture. So you navigate that, and you have to just respect the other person. Joan and I have talked in depth about John. And we've talked about Kathy and what the great parts were and those type of things. You got to keep it positive, but it's part of it. And it is something that really brought us closer together when you experience this, but also it's that mutual release when we talk and going, it's okay to love someone else. It is, to get on with your life.
And I think that was probably one of the more beautiful parts of watching your journey unfold on this show. And Joan, I guess the first part of my question is, when you were in the bungalow with Chock and he handed you the heart locket that had the keys on it and said, let's get a place in New York, did that kind of help seal the deal for you, knowing that this guy, if you didn't know it already, was in it to win it? Did that thought kind of cross your mind at that point?
You know, that we had this conversation quite a while back about me, about both of us having the desire to, like, possibly one day, live in New York part-time or full-time or whatever, not really full-time, but having a place in New York. And the fact that he remembered it was like kind of big. So just that part of it. And then that was such a huge gift. And, that showed me, when you give somebody that big of a gift, you're planning a future with them. And so it gave me confidence that, like, he was the guy. He was the person that, like, I saw my future with him, and that was part of it, actually, yeah.
And we understand you guys are going to be in New York next week looking at places. And what is that process going to be like?
Any neighborhoods in particular?
Yeah.
Well, we leave tomorrow evening.
And then
tonight. Yeah, it's Friday.
Yeah.
We're going to be there early in the morning, and then we're having dinner with friends on both Saturday and Sunday night. Joan has Monday scheduled with a friend of hers, a realtor. We start the process.
Yeah.
And we're thinking, to answer your question, probably the Upper West Side.
Yeah, we think, but
we're going to look everywhere.
Yeah, we're not tied to any place. There's no reason to be any place. We just want to be where there's, like, a lot of people, a lot of action. He comes from Kansas, so kind of a small town. I've always wanted to live in a big city. So I think we want to be where the action is. Have fun.
Do you guys have any plans for the holidays?
Plans for the holidays?
Yes. My kids and I've got 2 kids, and we're going to meet Joan and her family for both Thanksgiving and Christmas in Maryland. The day after Christmas, we're going to go back to New York City. So we've got big plans. We're going to have a chicken noodle soup cook-off on Thanksgiving, and we've got some things planned, and it's really going to be fun. My kids are very much looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Mine too. Like, what a weird thing to happen. Kind of later life, they're getting like a stepbrother and stepsisters, and so I think it's a lot of fun.
I'm coming to the chicken noodle soup.
Oh boy,
You're a judge.
I knew that was coming.
You're a judge,
no.
remember?
Yeah, yes. See, it's not just me, Ryan. I'm just pointing it out. Joan, you told me that one of the things you were most looking forward to post-show is to really just, like, go and have a dinner. Go to a restaurant, have a dinner, and have a date night. Did you guys end up doing that, and how was it?
We did. We finally went out to dinner last night as a couple, and we met some of his friends that were here for the show and for the party that we had, and his daughter came. So it was so nice, exactly what I felt like we needed. We were just like a normal couple out with other couples, drinking a little wine, food. It was such a nice night. In fact, we didn't get home till kind of late, and we had to get up early, but we were having so much fun that we stayed.
I have to tell you what happened.
Did you not learn from the night before?
I have to tell you what happened is we're driving over there, and another friend of mine got in contact with me that was here in L.A., and he goes, well, let's have drinks after dinner. And I told Joan, Joan heard me, and I said, well, we'll meet you at like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And Joan looked at me and goes, no, that is not going to work. We've got an early morning. We've got to get to sleep. Well, guess who had to get her to leave last night?
I can never leave.
Was there, listening to you guys, it feels like you've known each other for years. Is that how it feels for you? And could this, I guess when you talk about this process, were either one of you skeptical coming in that it could work out as well as it has?
I had no idea that it could work out, but it has marvelously.
Yeah.
And we've had some situations that pop up, from New York to everything else to, airline problems, those type of things. We work so well together. And it's just, one's good at one thing, the other one's good. And it really helps when you're at this age, you have the maturity level that you've had experience with this, and one kind of likes to handle one thing, the other one will do that. So it's been fantastic.
Yeah, we're kind of figuring out what the other person is good at. And, kind of navigating our way, but it was always like really comfortable. There was never any angst. I was never nervous being around each other. It's just always been really, really comfortable. Like you saw from the first date, you were there and you saw we just had a quick rapport. So everything's been actually weirdly easy.
So I know you're taking some time to be engaged. Is there like a timeline at all as far as like a year, 2 years, 3 years, as far as when you want to have a wedding?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to wait 2 or 3 years or maybe a year-ish. I think right now we just want to be a couple, at least
Yeah.
through the holidays. We're not going to think about anything like that. And then, there's absolutely no rush to get married, but I do want to marry this man. And why wait a long time? But, I'd say in, 2025, early 2026, I would guess would be like an accurate timeline, I think.
I'll keep my schedule open.
Good. I'll save the dates on your
there
way.
we go.
I got
Perfect.
it. Good. You know the email. I'm only kidding.
Yeah.
So what does it look like? Do you have ideas kind of what you want this wedding to look like? Do you want it to be intimate, a big thing? Will it be televised? I mean, what are your
Gina,
thoughts?
Gina, it has changed so much over the last couple of days
Yeah.
because a couple of days ago she's like, "Well, I just want a private wedding." Now she's considering it, and then we started at 20 people, and now we're up to 25,000
Yeah.
people or 1 million viewers, whatever it is. So
All
It's a
the
work in
above.
progress. We don't know. I mean, there originally thought I just wanted to be friends and family. We've done everything so publicly that it's just nice to be intimate with like the people that we love and love us. But as I think about the journey and how so many people have invested in watching like this idea of hope turning into something, like us, that it doesn't seem fair to end the journey and end letting them see how it really turns out, close the book at the end with us being married as opposed to it just being engagement. I feel like, I would like to share it with everybody.
Yeah, and you two are both public figures now because of this journey, and that's a great thing. And we've enjoyed watching all of this unfold, not only on TV, but on social media as well. Do you plan on keeping the social platforms going and allowing the people that love you so much from afar to kind of enjoy what you're going through together as a couple?
Well, I've been fortunate that my daughter knows and handles my social media. I am the reluctant D-lister in this relationship. We've talked about it because, like last night, we went out to dinner, and it's so different for me to have what you'd call fans.
Right.
And like we went out to dinner last night, and afterwards we probably should have taken some pictures because people want to see us that we're having a normal life.
Yeah, of
And
course.
we didn't do that, and we'll try to get better at that. But Joan's fabulous at it. She's up to like 130 or 40,000 followers.
It's very unimpressive, but
No, it's impressive.
We'll take those.
Okay. Again, like we didn't do this to have followers
Sure,
or
of
to
course,
have
of
anything to
course.
do with social media. In fact, it's like actually kind of uncomfortable to do social media to me. I think it's like a little, I don't know, it's not what we grew up with. It's not part of our world. And so to enter that weird world and when you're 60 is a little uncomfortable, and I'm getting a little more used to it. But I think that I love seeing other people's social media. I love seeing what my friends are doing. I love their, people's creativity. So I think I'm like getting a little more used to that world, and, we'll figure out, how we want to enter it and what we want to be in it eventually.
Well, I've enjoyed your recipes. I know.
Yeah, that's been awesome to watch.
Sure.
And
Thank you. I love doing those. That is comfortable. So,
Uh-huh.
like I guess there's maybe aspects of social media that I'm not uncomfortable with. And so like the cooking stuff, I'm totally comfortable doing. I like doing that.
Yeah, that's fun. I've learned some new things.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That lemon chicken. Yeah. In.
I like the
Yeah.
And also the chock and noodle soup. We're gonna have to see. I think maybe that's what it has to be. You guys will have to like live blog or live vlog.
Oh,
the chock and
absolutely.
noodle soup
Yeah.
contest. I feel like maybe that's the option here, so we can all be a part of it because it's obviously going to be on your Thanksgiving holiday.
Yeah, it could be soon. I'm not sure what live blog is, so that's how like not good we are with this world. But you tell me what it is, we'll attempt to do it.
We got you.
Has
We
there
got
already
you.
been some smack talk going on? Who can make the better chock and noodle soup?
Oh, I got to tell you, I've been asked this question before, and they go, "What have you learned about Joan?" The TV world, the fans think I'm very competitive. I'm down here, she is up here. One of our happy couples, we had a tennis facility attached to the house, and she didn't give me a point. And if I brushed the net, she'd try to take me out.
I am a little competitive, and I know my chicken soup is better, so I'm not even worried about this competition. But we'll let everybody, the guest judges will be able to decide.
I love it. I think one other thing people have liked seeing on social media is sort of the Golden Bachelor and Bachelorette worlds colliding.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I've heard that you've been setting people up or introducing people. Is there any new hot couples on the horizon that you can share with us?
Give us the scoop, Joan.
Yeah.
I have a couple, so I've set up a few that are kind of in the works right now. So like too early to reveal. I think I need to leave that to them if they want to reveal what's going on, that they can do that. But I actually have a couple more in mind that I need to work on this weekend. I'm going to do a couple more introductions.
I love it.
So at the coming out engagement party that we had a couple of nights ago, we had 8 of the guys from the show and 6 of the ladies from the Bachelor show.
Yeah.
And Joan is just, she loves to do it. And she's always going, are you single? You need to meet this person. Yeah. And then at the show, the final show, my daughter was there with my family, and my son sat next to Grant, the Bachelor
the
for
new
this
Bachelor,
upcoming.
Yeah.
And my son sat next to him. My daughter comes up and goes, get out of there. So she sat next to Grant. And then during a commercial break, Grant came over and introduced himself to me. And I said, hey, if it doesn't work out for you on the show, my daughter's sitting right next to you.
Hey.
And then,
He's matchmaking too.
Yeah, I
and
see
he
that.
showed up at the party, so it was all good. He was there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
Yeah. He was.
I was not there. No, I'm only kidding. But no, but I love that because, now you do have kids that are in like the Bachelor Nation age, I would say. So are you kind of looking at some of the guys and the girls from the other seasons to kind of, whoever is not taken, to kind of like set up besides Grant, obviously?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jonathan Johnson.
Jonathan Johnson.
Yeah, he's. I've got 4 of the guys coming back to a Kansas City Chiefs game on December 8th, and he's going to be there as well. And he's got a friend of his, so we'll probably go out and do a little partying, and we'll, it'd be good to get to know him a little better.
Yeah. My kids are all paired off. So I have 2 that are married, 1 that's engaged, and 1 that lives with his girlfriend. So there's no matchmaking in my kid arena, but I am all over his kids. So I'm good. I'm going to work on them.
Love that.
Chock, you touched on this briefly, and we discussed it a little bit before we started taping the podcast about that golden rose, which was so cool there in Bora Bora. And you said you have brought that back to your office, and there's a letter involved. Now, the way I'm picturing this, I'm picturing it like Beauty and the Beast, little Disney reference, like the rose underneath the glass encasing in your office. Is that pretty much how it looks right now?
That's what I'm going to do. I actually wanted to wait till the filming was done to take the letter over to get it professionally matted and framed and all that. But it was real special on a questionnaire that they had. It said, from the last, I think, maybe 3 or 4 of us, what was the most, what was the coolest thing that you took from the show? And I said, it was an object, and it was that golden rose. And I couldn't tell anybody, but I just had to keep it really safe. So
right. And that's actually how it is in the house. It's in the rose room, and it's underneath like the glass, just like you're talking about. That's exactly how the guys walk by it every day when they walk to a rose ceremony.
And
I think it's going to be a great conversation piece in our New York place. Yeah. It will be. People go, what's the rose for?
I think people will know what the rose is for. I'm quite certain of that. And Chock, the letter was from the producers saying that you had made the show. Was that the letter?
That is correct. Yes. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the cast. We appreciate you. And, it's going to be awesome. A golden journey. And we're looking forward. We can't wait to get you out here in Los Angeles. Yeah.
And is there a timeline for when you're going to take that Disney trip with your family?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Orlando, here we come.
And that we have to see on social media. Because
at the dinner party last night, my daughter showed up. And it's interesting that Joan and I have some big trips coming up in 24. Mm-hmm. And my daughter, and she's like, when are we going? When are we going? And so it'll probably happen in 24, maybe 25, just depending. But
25, not 24.
25, yeah, excuse me. We've got grandkids that want to go. We've got kids. It's going to be great.
It's a lot of coordination with a lot of family, and especially since I have a grandson that's actually school age, so kind of got to work around that. And no, I think the sooner we do it, the better. I am dying to go. I'm a huge Disney fan, so I just think we have to logistically figure out when it works for everybody.
Seeing your grandchild in the audience at AFR doing the heart hand.
Oh, right.
So cute.
Such a good moment.
I as if I hadn't already been in tears from watching your journey and the proposal and everything else. I can't. It just must be it must feel so nice, especially for them, to see you so happy. So for me, I'm not even related to you. Watching you be so happy makes me so happy. I can't even imagine what the rest of the family must feel like right now.
It is like, I mean, our kids want us to be happy, and they become a little protected, like the roles reverse a little bit, and they were worried that like my heart would be broken, and so I think that the journey ended so perfectly, and that I'm in love, and that we're happy, like is a sense of relief for them because, like I said, they're protective of me. But I remember watching an episode of The Golden Bachelor, and Boomer was in the room. He's my 4-year-old grandson, the one that you're talking about. And he saw me crying, and he was heartbroken. He came running over. He said, "Jojo, why are you crying?" And I said, "No, it's all fine. This is just on the show. It's all over. Everything turned out fine." So it makes me sad that he was worried about me. Like kids at that age already have empathy. And he is such a, oh God, he's such a sweet little thing. And he was trying to get up from my daughter and run on stage with us. And they're like, "You have to hold on tight to him. He can't run on stage." So it was all he could do to not come and be with me.
Well, this whole thing has felt like one giant fairy tale with one amazingly incredible happy ending, and we can't say enough how thrilled we are for the both of you, and we can't wait to watch the rest of your journey, whether it's on social media or at Disney World or wherever, and we know you guys are in this for the long haul, and we can't say enough how excited we are about that, and we can't thank you enough for being here today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Joan and Chock, and let me also say the bar has been raised for every Bachelor couple going forward after what we've witnessed here this season on the Golden Bachelorette. Thanks so much for being here, guys.
Thank you.
I mean, hashtag happiest couple ever.
I think they're one of the cutest, most like well-adjusted couples we've ever seen.
Actually, well-adjusted is a good point.
They've settled in.
They've settled in, and Gina, I mentioned this to them. It feels like they've known each other for years. How comfortable it was watching them interact there together.
Yeah, and they've said the same thing. That's why I think they both knew it was right, because they just feel so comfortable with each other. Their relationship is just very easy. And that's important. You don't want to struggle with, getting someone to the level that you are when it comes to love,
And
It's great.
Go ahead.
Oh, I would love to see a double date between the two of them and Trista and Ryan.
Hey, that's a good idea.
They're actually not too far off in age from Chock and Joan.
Yes, that's a good point.
I mean, look how long ago our first Bachelorette season was, And they all look beautiful and great. And that would just be so cool to see them all together.
Kind of a full circle moment, no doubt about that. A favorite part of the interview, Jen? I mean, I'm happy that I got the answer to the inquiring mind's question, why the name Chock? And we finally got the answer to that. Mom had something to do with that, which I thought was cool. And we had not heard that from him before. So now we finally got the answer to that. That was one of my favorite parts of the interview.
I loved when he talked about the kiss.
Yes.
When he knew that there was no way Joan could kiss somebody like that if she's going to let them go. And he just felt he was the guy. And he was the guy, not guy.
He was the guy, not guy. Chock, you old sailor, you. And Gina, it definitely, listen, they've been living it up, safe to say, since the After the Final Rose with Jesse there on the last night.
I find it so interesting. Joan and Chock were talking about the engagement party that they had, going to dinner, and, Chock's going to party it up a little bit with Jonathan when they go to the Kansas City Chiefs game. Meanwhile, if you look back to the Golden Bachelor, I remember Gary at one point basically leaving an event at like 8:00 because he was exhausted and he wanted to just go home. So it's just a different, it's a whole different mindset. It's a different, they're at a different age. They have a little bit more energy. They're fun. I mean, and I think that's what endears people to them as well. They're just fun, loving, happy couple, and I'm happy for them.
I think being in love gives you energy too.
Yes. And they're in the quote unquote honeymoon phase.
Oh yeah, Bora Bora.
Bora Bora will get anybody in the honeymoon phase.
Bora Bora is beautiful, like really beautiful.
Bora Bora hubba hubba. And one thing we didn't touch on, I mean, Joan's dating a younger man now. I mean, Chock is a year younger than she is. I meant to bring that up to Chock, not exactly going cougar hunting here, dating someone a year older than him, but they definitely bring like this youthful exuberance out in each other is what I feel like I saw there.
I mean, they have plans for this new apartment. They are looking so forward to their future together. And I think that's what's so refreshing is they're making plans. They're talking about what they're going to do next. They're talking about blending their families and having this Disney trip in the holidays. And it's just so refreshing.
And they're going to be moving to the Upper West Side. And when they're not looking at apartments, Gina, Joan is in the process of matchmaking. And it sounds like Chock is trying to set his own daughter up as well, which I thought was hilarious.
I love it. And also, I have also hit up Joan for her, for her matchmaking services.
Well, it's the least she could do since you set her up with Chock,
Really
basically, on the
much.
Disney date.
I had everything to do with all of that. I was going to take a little credit, and then I was like, you know what? No. But I did notice it, which is why I've been a Chock stan since the beginning, because I really did notice it.
The flower girl, Jen said you could be at the wedding.
Yes, I'm down. I'm down.
Did it give you the feels being back in the same conversation with Joan and Chock together? Were you hearkening back to their Disney date? And just so we're clear, because people always wonder about the timeline of this and how long ago was that Disney date? If you're looking on the calendar, when was that? Was that in the summertime, like July?
It was in the summer. It was, I want to say, like mid to end of June.
Mid to end of June. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, they started filming on Father's Day, as I recall.
That's right, yeah.
And then this was just a few days after, so maybe like the 24th.
So they're approaching their 5-month anniversary here pretty soon. Just a couple of kids in love. I mean, look at that.
I love it.
I love it too. I love, and I meant what I said at the end. I think the bar has been set for future Bachelor couples. And it's going to be interesting as we watch Grant's season unfold. And we understand there's been some DMs going on between Jen and Gina, some Bachelor Nation scoopage.
I didn't mean to leave you out.
Yes, you did. And that's why I need to know what I missed out on.
So I saw this post by, I believe it was Mark Anderson, or was it Barb? I don't know.
I think it might have been Barb.
It was Barb Woods, right? So they had that Halloween picture together, and they said they were they're dating now.
Right.
And Jiggity John is on the other side. So Barb's in the middle, and Mark's on one side, and he's on the other side. And she said something about what was it, like a
gorgeous guy sandwich, and it's like, but it was at the engagement party. It was at the engagement party. So,
but he's everywhere, Jiggity John.
He's a crucial part of Bachelor Nation.
Yeah.
Hey,
we're gonna get him on this podcast in the
I hope
week.
so. And listen, we did not talk about this in our earlier episode this week. Jack and Susan sitting next to each other after the final rose, strategic placement by the producers, or something more to that, do we think?
Well, she did say she wanted to get to know him.
She did. She said that right here on this very podcast.
She did. So, I mean, maybe that's all part of it. I don't know how far along they might be in their getting to know each other phase, but that would be cool.
Well, I can tell you they have been talking. I knew that from Joan. I'm gonna blow up Joan's spot here for a second. She told me that they had been talking. But that's all I know.
Now let me ask you this, because Joan alluded to a couple of. Do we have any inclination as to who this might be? I mean, this is of course pure speculation. Everybody,
I think Jordan.
We're just throwing our guesses out here. Do we have any?
I don't know that it may be Jordan and Leslie. But I think Gary is one of the other people who she's setting up. Yeah, Gary is one of the other people she was trying to set somebody up with.
Would it be a real world person or a Bachelor world person?
Well, I think it's a Bachelor world person, and I don't know if you noticed this. I mean, it could be anybody. I think the speculation was Sandra, but if you recall, in After the Final Rose, he was sitting next to Nancy.
I was just
He
going
was
to say,
sitting next to
what
Nancy.
about Nancy? I love Nancy.
Hold on. We need to, Jen, for those of you listening on Spotify or wherever you're getting your podcast and not actually watching, Jen's face that she just made when Gina said Sandra. Why the face?
Because I just totally kind of forgot about her. I was like, oh yeah.
Oh, right.
You know, Sandra. And she's very cool.
Is it Sandra or Sandra?
Sandra,
yes.
But
Sandra,
she's
and
fun.
she's lovely.
She's a firecracker.
She's fun.
She's got energy for days.
Energy for days.
Yep.
And listen, I feel like Chock and Joan are going to have energy for days and years, and I think these guys are in it all the way till the very, very end.
So.
I
They
think
seem
that's
great.
my take on it.
I have a feeling they're going to be knocked out and fast asleep throughout their whole
Yes.
plane ride back from LA to
Right.
New York. I will say that. I hope they get a little rest.
You know, in one question
before they begin their real estate journey.
Yes. Good luck with that, by the way, as prices
Right.
continue to soar here in New York City.
But they might get rid of broker's fees.
Yeah, well, you know what? We'll take every break we can get here in this town at this point. You know, one thing we should have asked them, where do you go for your honeymoon after going to Bora Bora? I mean, it's
Maybe
kinda,
they go back.
or maybe Tahiti, the Maldives.
Hawaii?
Hawaii. I mean, Hawaii is
like Hawaii.
amazing, but it's not Bora
Yeah,
Bora.
but Bora Bora.
Bora
Yeah.
Bora.
I would go
these
back
are,
to
These
Bora
are first
Bora. I
world
don't know.
problems.
Maybe abroad, like Europe or something. A castle.
Castle.
I want
A
to know.
Disney
I want to know what
castle?
their trips are for next week because they were talking about the vacations that they're going to take. I'm like, where are they going?
Oh, I know. Well, they didn't want. I think they have to leave some suspense for
Yeah.
the social
They
media
need
reveal.
privacy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to know for me.
Gina wants to third wheel again.
Exactly.
Look,
What if they end up somewhere in instead of going someplace warm, they go to Antarctica for their honeymoon and they just
gosh.
totally mix it up.
Alaska.
Alaska's amazing.
That's
that
right.
would
That
be
was
great.
their last date. Right?
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I went there over the summertime and can't recommend that enough. So listen, we have to wait now almost 2 months, more than 2 months for Grant's season.
It's a long wait, but I hope people don't leave us because we are going to have some great guests. We're working on it.
Yes.
So
We're hoping to get Pascal on the show. We're hoping to get Guy on the show.
we would hope.
We're hoping for anyone and everyone.
fingers crossed.
Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
I mean, but Jonathan.
Jonathan
our
would be
boy
great.
Jonathan coming back. And I know-
Jonathan, if you're listening,
yeah, we're
expect a
putting it in the
text.
universe.
Yes, we're putting it out there.
But yeah, we're gonna keep this thing going all the way through. So.
And if you like our podcast, what do you need to do?
like and follow us.
Like and follow us. We love all the comments on YouTube and on social media. I mean, it's great to get interactions from all of you. And by all means, don't hesitate to share your thoughts with us. And we appreciate the love, to say the least. And we can't thank you guys so much for being here once again for another episode. For Gina and Jen and Joan and Chock, I'm Ryan. We'll see you next time for the next episode of Playing the Field.